Hey folks, Zach Osterman here, IU Insider, Indianapolis Star. Forgive me, still getting used to this. Got out here somewhere for today's video diary, pregame video diary anyway, a little bit more exotic than the hotel. Behind me, obviously, the Atlantic Ocean. We're in Old Town San Juan. Indiana was up here yesterday, did a food tour of Old Town San Juan. By all accounts, it was excellent. Haven't gotten a ton of reviews from players and coaches yet, but from what I have heard, it was very well received. I think you're going to see a lot of that from Indiana on this trip. A lot of kind of the idea of almost as, in some ways, almost as much the games is important, I think, for Darian DeVries and his staff. The idea of pulling this roster together a little bit, building some chemistry, time spent together. You know, I think in terms of basketball specifically, I think the extra practices would have been the first big sort of boost of this summer tour. The games are up there, obviously, but also just the time spent together as a team. And so I think you're going to see more, probably including from Old Town San Juan. It's a really cool place. There's a lot to do and see around here. But we are talking on game day, Indiana's first game out here, 7 p.m. Tonight against Universidad de Bayamon, which is a local team, a Puerto Rican team. The game will not be streamed. We will have a live blog. Make sure to like and subscribe here. Go to indystar.com/sports. As I said in a video I posted on the Star earlier, you know, we will have some tweeting, ideally. I'm not sure what the wireless situation is going to be, but we are going to push a lot more to that live blog. We would really like for you all to join us there. And the idea is going to be obviously score updates and stat updates, but much more than that, I think, is the opportunity maybe just for some observations, some analysis of what we see from Indiana, what the lineups look like, what the rotations look like, how different lineups behave differently, what's different with, you know, this player at the 5 versus this player at the 5, or does Indiana go smaller at times? Does Indiana go bigger at times? Obviously, you would imagine that opponents will dictate that for Indiana just as much as, you know, kind of game state and things. But Darian DeVries is probably going to have some non-negotiables or some KPIs that he's going to want to hit today, regardless, essentially, of, you know, sort of who they're playing or how the game is going. Because, again, I think this tour is a lot less about winning these games and a lot more about growing as a team. And so it's going to be interesting, this first look. You know, I would be surprised if the starting 5 isn't what we saw in practice last week. Connor Enright, Tatum Connerway, Lamar Wilkerson at the 3, Tucker DeVries at the 4, and Reed Bailey at the 5. I'd be surprised if it's dramatically different from that. But I think that, you know, we're gonna get a look at, I suspect, a lot of Sam Alexis today. We're gonna get a look at a lot of, I think, Josiah Miles. I think Trent Sisley's got a real opportunity out here over these 3 games. Don't know if we're gonna see Jason Drake. Don't think we're gonna see Nick Doran at all. Alexa Ristich, who I'm told goes by Alex, has joined the team here. I don't know if he'll play or not. Obviously, he's got a lot of catching up to do. He's just now joined the program after spending the summer playing with the Serbian national team over in Europe. So, you know, I think there's a helicopter going overhead here. I think there's a decent chance that, you know, maybe we see a little bit of him, but that DeVries is going to feel like Ristich is still going to need a little bit more time, frankly, before he's ready for, you know, big minutes in this rotation, even in an exhibition setting. But again, I really don't think that this, I really do not think that this tour for Darian DeVries and his staff is going to be about, you know, purely winning or losing these 3 games. I think already they will have probably felt the biggest benefit, which is those extra practices that they were able to take in the build up to this trip. They also will get some practice time out here, independent of those 10 practices. So that'll help as well. And then I think it's much more about sort of the opportunity to tinker and to play with lineups and rotations, you know, in a relatively sort of risk-free setting as he tries to, you know, sort of maybe start to entrench certain players' roles and really expand on maybe some of what he has seen in those practices that he'd like to try in live game settings before Indiana gets to the preseason. And then I think I've said this to a number of different people over the last few weeks. I think the most valuable thing that might come out of this trip from these games specifically, win or lose, is just the fact that Indiana's going to have 120 minutes of film that its staff can take back into the lab, so to speak, when it gets back to Bloomington and really digest and, you know, kind of compare that, contrast that against what it saw in practice, the notes it made, what it thought it might have, and really use that to inform how Indiana builds out its preseason, because this is, you know, what you sacrifice in kind of starting the physical clock of a season with these foreign tours. You have to get back in being able to be ahead of the curve in all respects once the season starts. And so I think for Indiana, having that film, bringing that film home, win or lose, is going to be very, very valuable. We'll leave it there for now. Please remember to like and subscribe here. Remember to join me tonight at indystar.com/sports. Again, tip-off 7 p.m. against Universidad de Bayamon. We will have as extensive as we can of a live blog. Going to aim for some video highlights as well. We'll see just kind of what the court setup is there, what the media setup is. But we are going to do everything we can to bring you everything we can from here in San Juan this week. So again, like and subscribe on the YouTube channel, and join us at indystar.com/sports for all the usuals, plus some extra tonight, tomorrow, and over the next few days. Thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you soon.